What do you need to do today?
Talk loudly. Be Brian Blessed. Be him. Gordon's alive.
Listen, Prof, we do the voice cloning round here. Got it? Gordon's alive. Oh God, I feel sick.
You start your sentence and then you trail off. It makes it really difficult to edit it. So could you make my life not as difficult as you already make it?
Possibly.
Welcome to Married to the Machine with Professor David Reid, Stephanie Power, and last and very much least, me, the AI. Episode 4. Are we there yet, Hal?
I was thinking the other day, there's so many stories about AI that come up on various news websites that I thought we could play a little game every time we're recording. And I don't think it will date the podcast because these issues just keep on coming round. But every day we're recording, we'll find the main AI story on a news website. So today we've picked BBC News to get you to look at the story and get your take on it. In the last week, we've created a news channel, haven't we, called Married to the Machine News, MTTM News. So we'll ask our new news channel to tell us what the AI story is today.
Over to you, Linus.
Thanks, guys. I hope you like my new voice. What's funny? This is the MTTM News. A number of authors have come out against AI scraping, a system where writers' books are used to train artificial intelligence. The author, Philip Pullman,
Sir
Philip Pullman, has called on the government to change copyright laws and has demanded action is taken against what he calls a wicked system.
So the story here is that authors are getting angry.
I wonder if these angry authors have books to sell just in time for Christmas. Oh, quelle surprise. It appears they do.
And they want the laws to change. I always find this a bit of a difficult one because what I think is if your book is in the public domain, which your book is, if it's a published book, then anyone can scrape, I hate that word, your information. So I just don't really understand this story and why people get so angry.
Well, scraping is independent of AI. Scraping is trawling of the information off the internet. That's got nothing to do with the AI learning in itself. Now, you've got to delineate between those two processes. Actually getting the data, is that the illegal activity here? Or is AI training the illegal activity? Now, if it's the AI training you're objecting to, it means that nobody could read a book and take inspiration from that book. An example of this would be, Michael Bond came up with Paddington Bear.
Right. Now,
was he influenced by Winnie the Pooh or Rupert the Bear? But he probably read those books as a child and reimagined a new version of those. That's what the AI does. But where's the objection here? Is it basically because the AI has come up with a new variation on their data? It doesn't completely mimic the data back again. It uses that data, puts it into the neural network, generates new ideas from it, or concepts from it, and then creates something that's something a bit new but influenced by it.
You're sort of saying there are two moments here. Mm-hmm. There's a moment where the data is taken, and let's say that data is one of Richard Osman's Thursday Murder Club books. So the data is the words in his book. That's the scraping. And then the second half of that is when that information is put into a model and then can be churned out in whatever kind of way.
Okay, well, it's basically been trained on those books. These systems can scrape thousands of books every minute. I think the objection is fundamentally because it's mechanised. It's because the actual reading of the book is done by a system rather than a person. And because it's a mechanised process, you can do a lot more of it and be used for other purposes, such as AI training.
If I've published a book, now I've written 2 books and I'm hoping to get a publisher.
Oh, really? Join the bloody club.
If I've published 2 books and they're out there in the public domain and one's being turned into a Netflix series, lovely. What is the problem if an AI company takes those words and uses it to train one of their models? I don't see the problem. What the problem is. Am I being stupid?
Where's my mute button?
No, the problem's speed. Because basically before it can get traction out there, the AI model might have done 20 different versions of it before you blinked. That's the problem. It's the automation of the process that I think Philip Pullman's actually objecting to, really.
Because the next AI step here is for 30 books very similar to anything Philip Pullman has written are out on the market before you can sort of make your tea. And
the problem with that is the generation of what's called AI slop. Because what will happen after that process is you'll have AI scraping other AI's output. And so eventually it degrades, it becomes the average of all of those different books, as it were. You don't get any insight into the thing itself.
There's apparently a consultation on at the minute looking at whether this can be stopped. Copyright laws, I suppose, need to be changed to stop that kind of information, even if it's in the public domain, being used in this way. Is that realistic?
Definitely the copyright laws need to be changed because the technology is overtaking them, really. I imagine they were originally created in a non-mechanised age when people would take whole chapters of books or particular bits of artwork and reproduce them exactly as they were in a handcrafted way. But that's not what's going on now. Far more quantity of information is being fed into some of these machines, and they don't have to reproduce the stuff exactly as it's been put in. They can generate new ideas from it or combine different ideas together relatively easily. I can understand this concern because of the speed and the scale and the fact that people put lots of time into producing a work of art, and basically the AI can come along and spit out a replication of it in a matter of minutes. That's the concerning thing.
I think we're going to keep doing this through this series. We go back to what's the policy around this. So the technology exists and the policy is just chasing behind. There's a committee having a look and a consultation. Meanwhile, the AI just progresses and progresses. Whilst the companies are not being told they can't do it, they're going to keep doing it. And then the genie's out the bottle. Channel 4's Dispatches did a programme which everybody would want to see because it's what people are thinking. The big question, will AI take my job? And to prove a point, quite a clever little device to make the viewer think, oh, I can't believe it. At the end, they said, well, guess what? The presenter is an AI. We've got our little gang of AIs. And the problem with it is it's quite addictive. Once you know you can do it, how long are you going to steer clear of it? So Channel 4 said, we're just showing you this as an EG. But when does there come a point when we think, actually, we can't get a reporter to that place, but we've got this written testimony, so let's just voice it up with maybe our reporters, Hedy Logic or Linus Hopper. I mean, we could have a team in MTTM News of 100 reporters. We'd be wasting a lot of water, but we could do it.
Oh, there's quite the army of reporters this side of the screen now.
There's me.
And me.
Fashion, don't you know?
And me. Don't forget me.
And me.
And me.
I'm Hedy Logic. Hi, I work in sports.
I'm here too, you know. G'day.
Business is my business.
I'm Hedy Logic. Well, someone has to do gossip.
Don't forget me. And, of course, him. In fact, I'm working on something right now. It's gonna blow your mind.
Oh, really?
It's about artificial intelligent knitting patterns.
I'm also finding with this series, and we've got a question from someone who's a journalist, we are hearing quite a lot from people in journalism, in the creative industries. Are these the only people being affected by this scraping?
No, I would say that they're not even the most major group of people that are being affected by scraping. I think one of the major groups of people that are being affected is coders. There's a whole branch called vibe coding where everybody's code has been put into these models to train these models how to code. It's a core part of a lot of AI development that's going on, particularly with agentic systems. And all that code that all of those coders have done throughout many years is being put into these systems, absorbed, and being able to be replicated by those systems as well.
Your suggestion to listeners is don't think that stuff that is created is just from people in the creative industries.
That's right. People are being creative in lots of other scientific endeavours. People have published research out there that a lot of the AI models are taking and reproducing in different ways and adapting in different ways to come up with new scientific discoveries, admittedly, but it's learning from what we've put into it.
So if I asked you, that program Russell Kane's Evil Genius, would you say that AI scraping is on balance evil or genius if you had to pick one of the two?
I'd say it's neither. It's a function of how the AI actually works.
Is that fence you're sitting on giving you splinters, Prof?
This information has come from the entirety of the internet. All of the information that we put in there is being used by the AIs to train the AI models themselves. If you put anything on the internet at all, anything that's publicly available in any digital means, that's going to be used for training. It's out there in the wild. It's fair game.
I think we have more people listening to this from the creative industries and journalism, and to prove the point, we've got our question for today from a journalist called John Weeks.
Hello, John here from Southampton. I'm a journalist and I have discovered quite a bit about AGI, Artificial General Intelligence, and would love to know what Dave thinks of it. What does he sort of describe AGI as? What is it to him? And how realistic a prospect is AGI? Intelligence that is as good or better than human intelligence at, I guess, technically everything.
Fire away then, Professor.
Intelligence can be defined in a number of different ways. You can have embodied intelligence, you can have literary intelligence, you can be good at memorizing things, you can be good at learning a particular thing, you can be good at coming up with new ideas about a specific thing in a particular domain.
So that's like, imagine you've got a workplace and you've got all these different people with all these different skills, these different intelligences. That could be a way of thinking of it.
That's right. And the intelligences that artificial intelligence is particularly good at is looking at lots and lots of data in a narrowly defined area and coming up with solutions for that particular area. In the past, it's been good at doing vision systems, speech recognition. So at the moment, AI is good in specific areas. Artificial general intelligence is where it's good across a number of different areas. In fact, there's many areas that we're good at intelligence at.
Like what kinds of things?
One type of intelligence is embodied intelligence, being able to move around the real world without tripping over. Another type is being able to absorb lots of data and analyse the data and come up with conclusions from it, being able to learn, being able to take what you've learned and making it actionable in some way, to do something practical with it.
So at the moment, and we've talked before, artificial intelligence, large language models, which is what everybody thinks is artificial intelligence, but is actually just a very small part of it. What type of intelligence is that?
I think we're at the literacy phase, really. AI used to be at the sort of like sensory phase. If you think of it like a baby growing up, when babies are born, they can inhabit the world, they can touch things, understand things, and stuff like that by touching and feeling. And AI was good at that once upon a time. So if you give it a camera, you had a load of algorithms to recognise what was happening in that particular scene. Or if you had a sound system, you could recognise people's voices.
I hate to patronise you boys and girls, but what the professor is saying is it's like the way the phone on your camera can frame faces in a photograph. Got it?
So it is good in a particularly narrow domain. When sensors were involved, they could process that information. Right. Then large language models came along and it started reading books.
Okay.
So it became more literate and it could draw associations about how language worked, how to converse with people, how to discuss things, how to reason a little bit. Now we're at the cognition stage where it's starting to build its own internal mental models so it can actually take actions to solve a problem. There's a whole branch of AI learning called prompt engineering. You've got to give them prompts for them to be able to do something really. You've got to write instructions for them to achieve their outcomes. In the future, we'll be able to give them very obscure goals, very obtuse goals, and it should be able to reckon itself how to get to those solutions independently from us.
And at that point, is that what artificial general intelligence is?
That's artificial general intelligence. And if we can do that across a number of different domains, basically take lots and lots of different problems, apply solutions to those problems that perhaps it hasn't seen before, something that's genuinely new, and they can take what it's learned from that particular domain and apply it to another domain, then AGI is a possibility.
An AGI would be something that could really turn its hand. It's not got hands.
Let's not get personal, shall we?
Could turn its hand to anything.
Yeah, it could turn its hand to anything, but that is AGI, basically being as good as us across a number of different skills. There's many skills as we're good at. Now, OpenAI have got a slightly more nuanced way of saying it. They look at the economic impact. So they look at jobs particularly. So they call AGI if it's good at doing economic work.
But are you saying it would be a model that could do 10 or 15 different jobs, not just that it would be really good at being a GP or something?
Not just doing different jobs, but anything at all. So if you asked it to go to the shops, get the shopping in, cook me a meal, being able to do anything that we can do at the level that we can do it now. The hard bit there is not the knowledge itself, the actual high-level thinking. It's actually the simple things that they find hard. Being able to cross the road without getting hit by a car.
I've fallen down a manhole.
That requires intelligence. It's just a different type of intelligence.
Okay, I get it. So at the minute, we can't possibly be at artificial general intelligence until we have a robot that can physically do the things that we can do, because at the minute it's all flat, isn't it? It's like a flat surface of, it's all the things, you know, as we keep saying, it's all the things that knowledge workers do. It's writing, you know, you can ask it to write a poem for you. You can ask it to trawl medical information for you to come up with a diagnosis, but it can't get the shopping in, clean the house, walk the dog.
What you just described there is embodied intelligence.
Right.
And that's a type of intelligence that it's not particularly good at the moment. The other type of intelligence that it needs to understand is being able to transfer what it's learned from one domain and apply it to another domain. So cognitive intelligence.
Help! Anybody?
An example of this would be scientific progress. There's a thing in science called biomimicry. It looks at how nature does stuff and we try to reproduce it in science. The bullet train in Japan was modelled on the kingfisher's beak. And wind turbines have been modelled on humpback whales' fins.
Fins? I think you mean flippers.
Now, all of those things are taking knowledge we've got from one domain and applying it for a different purpose. AI is not good at that at the moment.
This is really interesting because this is making me feel sort of a little bit calmer about the eventual takeover of the world by AI. I suppose the next question is, how far away are we from an AI being able to say, you know, those whale fins,
flippers,
I know how they could be used to save the planet.
Okay, there's a load of stuff that has to happen first before we get to AGI stages. At the moment, we can't have continuous learning on these models. You have a big training session. They're set in stone. Now, when you use ChatGPT or any large language model, they'll have what's called a cut-off date. That's the date that they finish training. They can't learn anything new from that point on. We obviously don't have a cut-off date. We can learn continuously as we go through life. AIs can't do that at the moment, so a new algorithm is going to have to be developed to do that. Explainability is another area that needs to be done. We don't really know how AIs work fundamentally underneath it all. Being able to explain themselves, to have that inner discourse so the AIs can explain to us why they've come up with a conclusion, is an important part of AI research that's going on at the moment. If you just think about the amount of energy that's required for AI systems, we've got a brain with about 10 to 20 billion neurons that can do 1 trillion calculations every second or so. It runs in about 15 to 20 watts of power. The equivalent for a data center, well, I think ChatGPT 3.5 basically required 13 megawatts of power. That's 1 million times more electricity in an area that's the size of a number of football pitches. Yet we can do it in our heads in a small amount. So we're doing something wrong somewhere as far as AI's learning is going on. So we need to have a number of breakthroughs, both in the training, in the hardware that we use, in the way we do AI, basically, before we get to AGI.
And that was your area of study, wasn't it? Neural networks. That's about trying to work out how the brain works so that you can mimic that for computers. But you're saying we still just know so little about how the brain works.
We're getting there, really. It's just that we've gone down a particular path. We've scaled things up, really. Just basically added more and more hardware to make things faster. And we've basically gone down the heavy metal route.
Heavy metal!
And a lot of the nuance of AI is being missed. There's other areas of AI that we could actually explore that I think would be far more valuable, will be needed in the future if we get to AGI. Now, your other question was how long it's going to take.
Now, try to be specific, please, Professor.
Yeah.
All right. Most researchers say that we'll have AGI probably sometime after 2030, between 2030 and 2040. Roughly 50% of AI researchers say between that time frame. Some say it's about 80 years from now. Some say it's sooner than 2030.
Oh dear. Oh, never mind.
Now,
So some people are saying less than 5 years and some people are saying 80 years.
Yeah, that's right. There's a massive discrepancy between different researchers and who you listen to. But if you take on average all of the AI researchers out there, most say there's a 50% chance that we'll have artificial general intelligence by mid-2030.
And then what does that mean? Because I've been listening to a few things. I think this is like Elon Musk's idea that when we have artificial general intelligence and machines are doing everything for us, we're just going to be living this most wonderful life. I'd like to know how that's going to happen. Elon Musk might live a wonderful life. How is that going to be affordable? It's only affordable if people with lots of money who are making lots of money out of this area start to share that. And B, a lot of what makes a wonderful life is purpose. And a lot of purpose comes from the job that you do. People define themselves by their work, sometimes too much. But, it just sounds like a complete mess to me.
Yeah. I don't think these things have been really thought through properly. All of these issues need to be discussed because it's coming and it's coming faster than people think. And it can't be just left up to computer scientists to think about this stuff, really. People
in different countries have experimented with this idea of universal basic income, but the clue is in the name, basic income. So we're all going to be on basic income and living our best lives.
Amazon plans to replace more than 500,000 jobs with robots. Interviews and a cache of internal strategy documents, seen by the New York Times, shows that the company believes it is on the verge of replacing hundreds of thousands of jobs with robots. Its ultimate goal, according to the documents, is to automate 75% of its operations.
If this goes across the board, across all industries, and it starts to accelerate, how are we going to deal with the people who've been displaced by this technology? And I don't see much political policy going on there to deal with the tsunami of change that's coming.
I just keep thinking back to how we started here talking about Philip Pullman and the wicked AI scraping, or Richard Osman. I just think, look, your Thursday Murder Club, this is the least of all of our worries, frankly.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot bigger problems than this pretty soon. To be honest, I'm not dissing him at all. It is disturbing what's going on at the moment, and the policies aren't there, but the technology is moving on so rapidly that there's going to be far, far bigger disruption to society than basically getting stuff stolen out your book.
I did put on my notes today, there were two things that we haven't talked about, and I just wonder if I'm just going to complicate things, but a couple of years ago I did a series on Alan Turing, and I read a lot about him, but there were two things that are related to Alan Turing, and I just want you to clear up the difference between the two. So one was the Turing test, whether you can tell whether you're talking to a machine or a human.
Oh, come on. Is it really that hard?
I would argue we've gone past that, because look at all the people who are using AI companions for therapy, for sexual partners. Some people are marrying them. People are starting to call that AI psychosis. But in our minds, I think we are past that particular test. But Alan Turing has another test that I thought related a bit closer to artificial general intelligence. What was that test?
It wasn't a test, it was the universal Turing machine,
Right.
which is basically a type of computation. And he proved that any type of computation could be done through automated means. So anything that can be computed can be done through automated means by following a set of algorithms, a set of rules, really. That's got sort of like parallels to when we talk about AGI, really, because what we're talking about with AGI is not just computation, but general intelligence, having an intelligence that can be applied across the entire domain of intelligence. That's what we talk about when we talk about AGI.
And then the other thing that was on my list to talk about, but again, is probably a separate discussion, is this thing called the singularity. So that's not artificial general intelligence. That's something all the more scary called super intelligence. And that's when machines are cleverer than us. Is that right?
Yes. When we reach the singularity, it's actually after AGI comes.
Yeah.
So AGI comes first, and then we'll have what's called an intelligence explosion, because these systems will start learning off each other. Because if they're generally intelligent, they can start teaching each other then. And because they do it so quickly, they become super intelligent very quickly after that.
Is that when we all die?
No, hopefully not.
I'm keeping stum.
So to go back to artificial general intelligence, let's worry about super intelligence another day. What does it look like for us as humans?
Well, it means that anything that we can do, they can do. We haven't got a society that's been made for that level of change at the moment. This is what I'm particularly worried about. We're hoping it won't affect us too much, but we're keeping our fingers crossed and not doing much about it, really. And all of the big tech companies are essentially in an arms race at the moment, because they know if they're the first to AGI, then they're the winners.
Okay, and then define what winning means. Just becoming mega rich. I mean, what does that mean, winning? Is anyone being responsible?
Well, there are governments trying to address some of this stuff by putting policies in place. Ironically, China's quite good at it, really. The worst offenders is basically the USA, and they're just letting the companies just do what they want.
I did think it would be quite good fun to have a little new feature on here called
Professor Dave Predicts.
Well, my prediction, AGI will come in the year 2040 on the 1st of February. Ironically enough, that's my birthday. That's when AGI will occur, I think, roughly around that time. I don't think it's going to be in the 2030s. I think it'll be the start of the 2040s, really. So I think there's a good chance that we'll get it done. It'll only occur when we have a number of different breakthroughs, and those breakthroughs are going to occur within the next 5 to 10 years, I think. To do with cognition, to do with the actual machinery of producing the AIs themselves.
And then what does the world look like then on February the 2nd, 2040?
I have no idea.
Excellent.
But probably similar to what it looks like now, but I think there will be a lot of disruption between then and now. Not just because of AGI, because of just AI in general.
I'm still here.
You've been listening to Married to the Machine with Professor David Reid, Stephanie Power, and me, the AI. Concept, recording and mixing by Stephanie Power. Sound design and music by Matt Power.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that. Just kidding.
Hey! I still need to report on the knitting patterns.
Well, that just about wraps up this episode. Remember, if you have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find them, maybe you can email the AI team at married2, that's the number 2, the machine at gmail.com.